You pause for just a moment today because something feels different, even if you cannot explain it yet. It is not the weather. It is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is something much deeper, something that has quietly been unfolding while you were busy surviving, healing, and wondering if anyone even noticed your silent battles. But they did notice. Maybe not at first. Maybe not when you were struggling. Maybe not when your heart carried more weight than your smile could hide. But now, everyone who knows you has begun asking the same question: how did you become like this? The strange part is they are not asking you directly. They are asking each other. They are watching from a distance. They are comparing the person you used to be with the person standing before them now, and the difference is impossible to ignore. They see something they cannot explain. They feel something they cannot describe. And what they are sensing is only the beginning of a truth that has been quietly growing beneath the surface, waiting for this exact moment to reveal itself. There was a time when you questioned everything. You questioned your purpose. You questioned your worth. You questioned whether all the disappointments meant you were somehow forgotten. Every closed door felt personal. Every goodbye echoed longer than it should have. Every delay convinced you that maybe life had chosen someone else instead. You carried invisible scars that no one applauded because no one could see them. Yet every single painful moment was shaping something inside you that even you could not recognize at the time. You thought you were falling apart, but what if you were actually being rebuilt? That question stayed hidden from you because if you had known the answer too early, you might have stopped walking. You might have turned around before reaching the place where everything would finally begin to make sense. Sometimes destiny keeps its greatest secrets hidden until your heart becomes strong enough to carry them. And your heart, it has changed more than you realize. People notice the calm in your voice now. They notice the way you no longer chase approval. They notice the peace in your eyes, even after everything you have survived. It confuses them because they remember the version of you who doubted yourself. They remember when fear spoke louder than faith. They remember when your confidence disappeared every time life became difficult. Yet somehow, without making a grand announcement, you became someone different. The funny thing is, transformation almost never happens loudly. It happens in silence. It happens during lonely nights when no one is watching. It happens after prayers whispered through tears. It happens when you decide one more time not to quit. Nobody applauds those moments. Nobody posts about those moments. Nobody understands those moments except the soul that lived through them. That is why your strength feels mysterious to everyone else. They only see the finished picture. They never witness the endless pieces scattered across the floor. Some people think you simply got lucky, others believe you met the right people, some quietly assume life finally became easy for you. But none of them know the truth. The truth would surprise them because your greatest breakthrough did not begin when something entered your life. It began when something left. The fear that controlled you. The voices that defined you. The need to prove yourself, the constant anxiety about being enough. Little by little, those chains began breaking. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Just quietly. One decision at a time. One sunrise at a time. One lesson at a time. Until one day, you woke up without realizing that the prison door had already been open, that freedom changed everything. Now when someone misunderstands you, you no longer collapse. When someone walks away, you no longer beg them to stay. When uncertainty appears, you no longer panic the way you once did. People see this and wonder what happened. They think they missed an event. They think there must have been one life-changing conversation, one magical opportunity, one extraordinary miracle, but your miracle was never a single moment. It was thousands of tiny moments that almost looked invisible. Every disappointment taught you patience, every betrayal taught you wisdom, every delay taught you trust. Every heartbreak taught you how deeply you were capable of loving without losing yourself. Nothing was wasted, not one tear, not one sleepless night, not one unanswered prayer. Even the moments you believed were meaningless were secretly preparing you for something your present self could never have handled before. Destiny was not ignoring you. Destiny was educating you. Have you noticed something strange lately? The same people who once overlooked you now pay attention. The same people who doubted you suddenly respect you. The same people who never asked how you were doing now seem unusually curious about your life. It almost feels backwards, but that is how genuine transformation works. People rarely notice your climb. They only notice when you have reached a height they never expected. Still, there is something even more mysterious happening beneath everything you can already see. Someone has been thinking about you more than you realize. Not because of what you own, not because of what you achieved, but because of who you became. Your peace has become magnetic. Your quiet confidence has become unforgettable. Your presence carries something that words cannot explain. Even strangers sometimes feel unusually comfortable around you without understanding why. Energy speaks long before conversations begin. You used to believe love was about finding someone who would complete you. Now you understand something completely different. You were never incomplete. You were simply disconnected from your own light. The moment you began finding yourself, everything around you slowly started changing. Relationships changed, priorities changed, dreams changed, even your definition of success changed. What once impressed you no longer holds the same power. What once terrified you no longer controls your future. And what once felt impossible suddenly feels closer than ever before. Yet this is where the story becomes even more unexpected. Because while everyone is busy wondering how you became this person, very few realize why it happened now. Timing has always been the hidden language of destiny. Things arrive when your soul can finally recognize them instead of destroying them. Think about the opportunities you desperately wanted years ago. Would the older version of you have protected them? Would that version have appreciated them? Or would fear have quietly ruined everything? Sometimes unanswered prayers are actually delayed gifts wrapped in invisible mercy. There are moments when you still look in the mirror and see the old version of yourself. You still remember the insecurities. You still remember the heartbreak. You still remember wondering whether life would ever feel lighter. Those memories remain. But they no longer define you. They remind you. There is a difference. A wound controls you, a scar teaches you, and your scars have become wisdom written across your soul. This is why your journey cannot be copied. Someone else may imitate your habits. Someone else may copy your words. Someone else may even try to imitate your confidence. But they cannot duplicate the invisible lessons that shaped your spirit. Those lessons belong only to you. Every setback became part of your foundation. Every loss became part of your strength. Every unanswered question became another step toward an answer far greater than you imagined. There is another reason people are watching you now. Some of them secretly hope your transformation is real because it gives them permission to believe their own lives can change too. Without saying a word, your story has become evidence, evidence that broken seasons end, evidence that healing is possible, evidence that hope survives even when everything else seems lost. You became proof without realizing anyone was paying attention. Still, one final mystery remains. It has been quietly following you. You may have sensed it in unexpected conversations. You may have noticed unusual coincidences. You may have felt an unexplainable pull toward certain places, certain people, or certain decisions. Those are not random. They are signs. Small whispers guiding you toward something your heart has been preparing for far longer than your mind understands. The next chapter has already begun. You simply have not seen the first page yet. Soon, someone will cross your path who recognizes your light immediately. Not because they knew your past. Not because someone introduced you. But because souls often recognize what eyes cannot explain. That meeting will seem ordinary at first, a simple conversation, a passing moment, nothing dramatic, until one unexpected sentence changes everything you believed about timing, purpose, and the journey that brought you here. And when that moment finally arrives, everyone who has been wondering how you became this version of yourself will suddenly realize they were asking the wrong question all along. The real question was never how you changed. The real question was who you were becoming this entire time. Because the person you are today is not the final destination. It is only the beginning. And what is about to happen next will reveal that every heartbreak, every delay, every unanswered prayer, every lonely night, and every impossible obstacle was quietly leading you toward one truth so extraordinary that once you see it, nothing in your life will ever look the same again. You can almost feel it now. Not with your eyes, not with your hands, but somewhere deep inside your spirit, where words lose their power and quiet certainty begins to speak louder than fear. Something is moving toward you with perfect timing, and the closer it comes, the more unusual the world around you begins to feel. Small moments suddenly carry unusual meaning. Ordinary conversations seem strangely unforgettable. Even silence begins to sound different, as though life itself is trying to whisper something you have almost forgotten. There was a reason your path became so lonely. You thought people were leaving because you had somehow failed them. You replayed old conversations, searching for mistakes that were never really there. You blamed yourself for endings that had already been written long before you arrived. But now, standing where you are today, another truth slowly begins to rise from beneath those painful memories. Not everyone was meant to continue the journey with you. Some people were only meant to introduce you to lessons. Some were only meant to awaken strength you did not know existed. Others unknowingly pushed you toward the life you kept resisting. Without them, you would never have discovered the version of yourself that now leaves everyone wondering what changed. The hardest part was never losing people. The hardest part was letting go of the person you thought you needed to be in order to keep them. That version of you smiled while carrying unbearable weight. That version apologized for taking up space. That version settled for half-hearted love because being chosen felt more important than being valued. You remember those days. You remember pretending everything was fine. You remember convincing yourself that someday things would somehow become different. What you did not realize was that someday was quietly becoming today. Have you noticed how differently you react now? The situations that once stole your peace no longer have the same power. The opinions that once haunted your mind disappear almost as quickly as they arrive. You no longer measure your worth by someone else's ability to recognize it. That freedom did not arrive overnight. It was earned. Every disappointment removed another layer of fear. Every difficult season uncovered another hidden piece of your strength. Every tear washed away another illusion until all that remained was something honest, something unshakable, something beautifully real. People often mistake peace for luck. They assume calm people have never faced storms. But your peace exists because of the storms. It was built by surviving nights when giving up seemed easier than believing again. It was built by choosing hope even when evidence seemed impossible to find. It was built by trusting that unseen hands were arranging pieces you could not yet understand. Now that same peace surrounds you like quiet light. Others feel it before they even understand why. There is someone thinking about you right now. You do not know their name yet, or perhaps you do, and you have simply underestimated their place in your story. Either way, they have begun noticing changes they cannot explain. They see your confidence. They see your kindness. They see the way your presence makes others feel safe. And somewhere inside them, a question has already begun. Growing. Who are you becoming? That question will soon lead them closer than either of you expects. Meanwhile, another door is quietly opening, not with loud announcements, not with dramatic signs. Just enough for your spirit to recognize that something important has shifted. An opportunity you once believed had disappeared forever is beginning to return, but it is returning differently, stronger, healthier, more aligned with the person you have become. Life rarely gives you the exact same chance twice. Instead, it offers something better disguised as something unfamiliar. Will you recognize it when it arrives? That answer depends on whether you still see yourself through yesterday's eyes. There was a moment you almost quit. You rarely talk about it. Most people never knew. On the outside, you smiled. On the inside, you wondered how much longer your heart could carry so much uncertainty. You questioned whether your dreams were simply beautiful ideas that would never become reality. You asked the sky questions that seemed to echo back without answers. Yet even then, something refused to let you stop. It was not pride. It was not stubbornness. It was something deeper. A quiet promise your soul had made long before your mind remembered it. That promise has been guiding every step since. Sometimes destiny protects you by making you wait. Waiting feels cruel while you are living through it, but looking back, you begin to see the pattern. The delayed phone call protected you. The rejected opportunity redirected you, the unexpected ending rescued you, the unanswered prayer prepared you. Nothing arrived when you demanded it, everything arrived when your heart was finally ready to receive it. Now the world responds to you differently. You may not always notice it, but others do. People trust you with their stories. Children smile at you without hesitation. Strangers offer unexpected kindness. Conversations become deeper than they used to be. These are not accidents. When your inner world changes, your outer world slowly begins reflecting it. The mirror of life always reveals what the soul quietly believes. Still, there is one lesson you have not fully understood. You keep thinking your greatest blessing is something waiting ahead, a relationship, a breakthrough, a dream fulfilled, a miracle finally appearing. But what if your greatest blessing has already begun? What if becoming the person capable of receiving those gifts was the miracle all along? Everything else is simply catching up. Some nights you still feel uncertainty. You wonder whether you are truly on the right path. You compare your timeline with someone else's. You ask yourself why everything seems slower than expected. Those questions are human, but every time doubt grows louder, something remarkable happens. Another unexpected sign appears. Another encouraging conversation finds you. Another impossible coincidence reminds you that unseen hands are still guiding your steps. You are never as alone as fear wants you to believe, and then comes the moment no one sees coming. Not you, not the people watching your journey, not even the ones who secretly doubted you. It begins so quietly that it almost feels ordinary. A message, a meeting, a decision made in less than a minute. Nothing about it seems extraordinary at first. Yet years later, you will look back and realize that everything changed because of that single moment. Entire futures often begin with ordinary seconds. When that day arrives, everyone will assume you suddenly became successful. They will say you were lucky. They will call your story inspiring. They will admire the confidence you now carry so naturally. But only you will remember the hidden chapters, the silent tears, the unanswered questions, the lonely mornings, the invisible victories that no one celebrated. Those moments were never separate from your success. They were your success, and just when you think the mystery has finally been solved, just when you believe you understand why your life unfolded this way, another truth begins to emerge. A truth so unexpected that it makes every previous answer feel incomplete. Because the transformation everyone has been noticing, the peace they cannot explain, the strength they admire, the light they suddenly see in your eyes, none of it was preparing you for your own future alone. It was preparing you to step into someone else's story at exactly the moment they had almost lost hope, and somewhere, much closer than you realize, that person's life is already beginning to change, because of you. You have no idea who they are yet. That is what makes this moment so extraordinary. While you are living what feels like another ordinary day, another ordinary week, another ordinary season, someone else's future is quietly moving toward yours. Their story has reached a place where they can no longer carry the weight alone. They have prayed in silence. They have searched for answers they could not find. They have almost convinced themselves that nothing will ever change. They do not know your name, but somehow, your path has already been written into theirs. It sounds impossible, maybe even unbelievable, yet if you look back over your own life, you will remember people who appeared at exactly the right moment. One conversation changed your perspective. One stranger spoke words you never forgot. One unexpected opportunity redirected your future. At the time, none of it seemed extraordinary. Only later did you realize that destiny rarely announces itself before it arrives. You have been expecting lightning. Instead, life has been preparing sunlight. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just steady enough to warm every part of your heart that once believed it would remain cold forever. That is why your transformation feels so different from what others expected. You did not become louder, you became clearer. You did not become harder, you became wiser. You did not stop feeling pain, you simply stopped allowing pain to decide who you were. That difference is impossible to hide. People notice it without knowing why. Some feel inspired by your presence. Others feel uncomfortable around you. Both reactions reveal something important. Your light exposes whatever people have been hiding from themselves. Those who are ready for healing move closer. Those who are protecting old wounds quietly step away. Neither response is your responsibility. Your responsibility is simply to keep becoming who you were always meant to be. There was a season when you thought every delay meant you were being forgotten. Now you begin to understand that delays often protect blessings that are still growing beneath the surface. Think of a seed.